Brave Italian world. How you live defines who you are. Here we talk about experiences and society from an Italian point of view and more. I'm really interested in your opinion, so leave an audio comment with the link below or a comment using the hashtag BraveItalianWorld on Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe for more. Hi everyone and welcome to the number 1 of this podcast. That's the second time that I have to re-record this audio. And that's because the first time I recorded it saying the wrong word. And that's why today we will talk about gay people and to be gay in Italy. It's a difficult theme to deal with. And I started with the wrong foot, we can say, because I recorded all the first audio saying homosexuality and not gay people or something like that, like a gay person or something like this. Why, you can ask? It's not offensive. Okay, in English it is offensive, or at least I've read it. That it's offensive. I read it that it's offensive on the New York Times, But in Italian, it's not. It's the contrary. Paradoxically, if you say gay to someone, it's more offensive than to say, okay, you are homosexual. And in English, it's the contrary. So I made all the podcasts wrong and had to delete it. So I start to say it now. I'm sorry. I don't want to be offensive. And that's why maybe sometimes I will make it wrong, because in Italian it's the contrary, gay it's offensive and homosexual is not. So let's do it. Let's start with the podcast. In those days, something strange happened. Giorgia Meloni, the leader of a left party that is in the parliament, made a public speech saying that she doesn't want that some rights that belongs to gay people will be used, or that rights she doesn't want that those will be put before the rights of other person, and it was just like that she doesn't want it to call someone in the documents parents 1 and 2, and that she wanted to use mom and dad, because a lot of stuff like that. And it was something strange because it was anachronistic, and at least some part of the Italian people started to make jokes about it and started to remix this speech because it was really funny from a point of view, but in another point of view it was really offensive because it wasn't a joke, it was serious. So I thought, okay, let's talk about what it means to be gay in Italy. Well, it's strange to describe because some days ago, let's say 10 years ago, I would say something like, okay, it's terrible, there is no law that protects you, and something else, except obviously something that declares that if you hit someone, you have to be punished. But today, we can say honestly that it's a little bit different. For example, with the government of Matteo Renzi, has been created the law that say that everyone, both gay or not, can have this civil union that gives you almost the same rights of a wedding, but it's not a wedding. So you can be married, but you don't call it marry from a legal point of view. There are a little bit differences, but I will not tell you here because it's not the time that I will tell you something that it's not socially important, but in a practical point of view it's almost the same, but there is a big thing that changed, and it's the fact that if you are in a gay couple you can't adopt a child. That doesn't mean that in Italy there are not at all couples with 2 fathers and a child or 2 mothers and a child, because That can happen, we can say, incidentally. I mean, if you are a mom, if you had a child, you are his legal parent. And after that you had this child, you engage a same-sex relationship, you maintain the rights on this kid. I mean, you maintain the rights to be his parent. And that's a good thing, but at least in my opinion, it's not enough. For example, if, I don't know, John and Edward are a couple, and John is the legal parent of a kid, when John and Edward become a legal couple with the civil union, the other, I mean Edward, doesn't become the father of the kid. Not just in a biological point of view, but obviously, but also from a legal point of view. It could be strange because socially, obviously, the kid calls them father, and for the kid it's normal. There is a healthy in family and everything like that, but from a legal point of view, it's completely different. For example, the not legal parent, we can say Edward, can tell all the rights on this kid. That doesn't mean that he can take responsibilities for this kid. So there is a difference between what you feel socially and what you feel in a legal point of view. And legal point of view sometimes became something that it's really difficult to understand in a changing society. So we can say that the law was a little bit incomplete, but there is a reason for it. That was created from the left party. So Giorgia Meloni is in the right, and the party that made this civil union law is in the left. And this law was made in a really, really difficult point of view, and in a difficult situation, because that was something that came from, we can say, just a part of the government that was created from more than one forces, so the Democratic Party, but also others little parties that they was in the government, so they decided to not call it, for example, marriage or wedding, I don't know, marriage, but they called it civil union, and they made it differently from the marriage in a legal point of view. And that's just my opinion, like all the podcasts, but I think that this affected the society because it's feel like something that it's incomplete. For example, there was a sort of rejection, from part of the society, almost the most conservative one, and some mayors or of some cities decided to not celebrate it like a wedding, but like something that was strange, bad, or something else, and that affected the society, because the society, part of that society, were agree with these measures, and they decided to not be angry for what happened. But there are also some association that helps same-sex couple to have the same rights. So today we can say that there is a strange situation with two words that are confronting. The younger word, we can say, because there are a lot of persons that are under 20, 30 years ago. 20 years old. I'm always wrong when I say numbers, but that's okay. And to the other side, there are also persons that are really against these choices. Italy, it's a really strange place because there are a lot of persons that think that if you give rights to someone, you lose your rights, and that's like that for immigration, for LGBTQ people or something else. It's just a strange feeling, like feeling that you have to protect what you have and you cannot give to the others. I think that this is changing. It's changing obviously slowly, but it's changing in all the world, and it's like that in Italy in a slower point of view, but it's changing. Because, for example, if you talk with some persons, they are changing their point of view in these years. So what I think that there is a lot of work to do again and again, and we have to be really concentrated on this theme, the theme of rights in general, because we have to work a lot. We are slower than a lot of other European countries, but we will arrive in a normal point of view, in a situation where all the rights will be given to who belongs to, and everybody is free to live happily. I think that there is no easy way to do it, and everything it's in our hand, everything it's in your hand every day. How you talk, how you decide to help or not help a person, you change the world, and that's why we have to be constantly committed to the right cause. And that's it. That's Ludovico, and that's Brave Italian World. See you to the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe.